Oh, hello.
Episode 5. How's your guys' brains feeling after that episode?
Pretty solid.
Oh, pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
So
Good cliffhanger.
yeah, that blew my mind. That blew my mind a bit because one, I may or may not have been already in a mind blowing state. But wow. I need to go rewatch this episode. I'm I'm speechless. It
Mm.
was very very good. I liked it a lot. There actually was a couple little things I didn't really like too much, but it's more nitpicky. But solid episode. Derek,
Yeah.
you've been talking about all this in his head kind of talk.
hmm
Take it away. What'd you think? What'd you think of this episode? Tell us how you feel.
Well, the cool thing about this show is that the way I've been reviewing it has been really, really different because it's like, well, depends on what the story is. So I've been going retroactively back and going, okay, well now I forgive Mark a little bit in the second or third episode for being such a jerk because I have the context now. Okay, we're good. I now enjoy that back episode much better. Um, Alternatively, I had to take the perfect 10 episode rating away from last week's episode simply because I think this episode's better and it's not going to go, I think, 100% the way I think that it should go. Because if it is going to go back to the real world and he's just going to come back to his body and the armor or whatever, and he's going to have a big battle with CGI on it, that's going to be kind of a flat ending to what they're telling me here. This middle story, this part here where we're in this asylum, is awesome, and it's written for people like me. Um, I'm already a little freaked out that he's got my bone structure. So when he's in a faraway shot and I blink or I can squint my eyes, it's weird that I see myself. It's not fun. It's weird. And then the whole mom thing caught me by surprise quite a bit. And yeah, it was interesting for sure. Um,
I can't agree more with you, Mikey. How'd you feel?
I liked it a lot. It's the payoff to everything that's been happening and getting a little bit of a better understanding of who Mark is. Um, just made me appreciate the character even more. Both Steven and Mark, like, really they're the same thing, right? But they're two different personalities.
mhm.
But yeah, it just made me appreciate like Steven's role in Mark's life. It hit me in the feels. I don't say I got teary eyed or anything, but like, he essentially creates Steven. Spoiler alerts at this point. Creates Steven to deal with his abusive mother. And Steven is the one that like takes the front, which is yeah, I liked it a lot. We can maybe go over this a little bit later, but it's crazy because Steven has such fond memories of his mom. But from how I understood it, is Mark would flip to Steven whenever abusive mom was showing up. So it's just, oh,
It's Can I
I
explain
liked it
it?
a lot. Yeah,
Kind
yeah,
of.
you can.
Okay. Here's how I can kind of relate is that you grow up in such a state where you're the person who has to be used. Like you're being used. So I grew up kind of, I would say, minorly, very very minor, not crazy abusive, but minor emotional and mental abuse where it was, you need to do this, you need to do this, I don't want to do that, you know, you need to do this. It was very small. But when you're in that state, as a kid, I don't know if he really understood that the abuse was wrong. He just maybe thought it was parenting. So when he grew up and that's how he behaves, every night he has to call mom, every night he has to feed his fish, every night, he sets up these kind of coping mechanisms. He doesn't talk to people except for people who are incapable of talking back. It could be like a psychological thing. But yeah, that's kind of, I don't know. I really want Steven. Again, spoilers. I want Steven back. I want Steven back, and it's really sad. I don't know, but I do think we'll get it back. I think he's coming back.
Yeah, I don't think Steven's not gone. I think that they have already established this character to stay. What's interesting is if they are going to go with a third personality, are they going to hold on to that? Is that just kind of a not a throwaway, but like a season 2 future kind of thing, or is third person gonna? I
He was
don't
there.
see them. I know, but was he there? Like we
He
haven't
was there.
really seen this third character.
You have.
Um,
You haven't noticed it.
well, that's not my point. My point is like we haven't gotten to know this third character.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And so that being said, like, are they going to try to fit that in one episode? And if so, so far, I really like the show. I actually think I would have preferred the route because it does seem like it's going the way you just said. But I think I would have preferred the route that we talked about last week with him being tested, and this kind of is all in his head, and it's kind of messed up, and then he does become Moon Knight, and he hasn't been Moon Knight. But no, it's probably he's going to be resurrected by his deity, Khonshu, and then we're gonna get a big CGI fight. The hippo. I was so like I said, there was a couple things I didn't like about this episode. Just very very nitpicky. Only because I'm speaking as who I am. No, this has nothing to do with like I don't know anything about Moon Knight, so I can't put it on the show to do these things that I would hope it to. But like Egyptian lore, I was so bummed out that they didn't bring Anubis into this. They had weighing of the scales. Anubis is like the most iconic Egyptian god, and he's so cool. And
Hmm.
I was like, oh, we're gonna see Anubis. This is gonna be sweet. But no, it's just a hippo with the scales, and the scales look like Anubis. So I don't know. Maybe Anubis is on vacation. He's retired. He's done.
I think it's more that she's the goddess of women and children, and that's kind of what the storyline is.
No, she is,
His
but the
mom.
the literal act that she does of weighing of the scales, that's
Mhm.
Anubis.
Oh,
That's his
oh, okay,
thing.
gotcha. Yeah. So I see.
Yeah, that's his thing. So even the scales have like a little Anubis in the middle. Um, weighing. I don't know. And I get it, like, they don't want to introduce another god, and it's just like it just made me sad. I was a little sad that we didn't see
Mm.
Anubis. The other thing is the hippo kinda wasn't doing it for me either. Like she's fine, but her accent didn't feel, or not even her accent, just the voice of the character felt off, and her
That's
reasoning
Mark's
felt a
fault.
little different too. Could have been, but
Yeah,
isn't the
everything in
hippo
that.
real?
No, everything in that realm is
Is his
his. Yeah,
His
interpretation.
perception,
Yeah.
yeah,
his interpretation.
right.
So
So
that's not an actual god.
no, it's an actual god, but he's viewing it because humans are incapable of seeing that. They have to
Comprehending the
interpret it.
plane.
Yeah.
But it's still a hippo.
Yeah,
Sure.
Tana, what are you asking? Like is that a
I'm
god
okay with
that
it. I'm
the
okay with it
Egyptians
being a
worship?
hippo. I'm okay with it being a hippo. I'm okay with it being a god. I'm just saying the voice didn't fit for me.
Mm. I
Nitpick.
think.
I
Well, I
know.
think it was like it's kind of like a thing. Like his boss was the one in like the first episode who was taught. Like she had the box of hippos and all that stuff. She had one in the asylum when she was like in the weird part. So like to me, it's like oh, okay, yeah, like Mark or Steven or whatever part of his head, he loves Egyptian mythology. So yeah, it looks like a hippo, even if it is just Tara, and that's how she always looks to everybody. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not.
See,
I'm not friends with
that's not
Tara.
what I was getting at all. What I was getting is because he serves Khonshu,
Hmm.
and because he's part of like this same reason like Asgard goes to or the people of Thor, they go to Asgard, right? Or is Asgard? Not Asgard.
It's a school.
Valhalla. They go to Valhalla.
Oh yeah.
Um
Okay. Yeah.
this is like their Valhalla. Um
Yeah. Yeah.
so I the mental ward was um his interpretation of the realm,
Yes.
but like what we were seeing as of the sandy place with the boat, like that is all not his interpretation. That's really happening. That's the vibe I
Poss-
got. And
possibly.
I got the vibe that the hippo is literally the same, like on the same level of Khonshu. She's actually there. You're seeing what she is. You're seeing the boat that she is because it was inside the boat that his interpretation was the Asylum ward, not
Hmm.
the boat. He didn't go outside. Like Mark was the first one to go outside, and he's not into Egyptian stuff at all. And then he's like, "Holy crap!" And he sees, the sands and they're on a boat and stuff. I think that's all happening. The Asylum though part
Well,
is
it's
what
all
you were saying.
happening, right?
Well, yeah, it's all happening, but I mean, like, that is what he is seeing despite it being him.
Okay.
The Asylum
Well,
is
it's
him.
it. I don't know. It's just kind of weird because it's like, of course, it's just like a pretend place. It's not actually real.
I actually think it is real. I think it's like the ancestral plane that they talked about, because the ancestral plane
No, no,
is
no, no. You're not
Black Panther.
understanding. I'm saying it's not a real place. Like if I was to go get shot in
Going to
Egypt, I
Dubai.
wouldn't go to the Duat.
No, I'm saying it is a real place, that the reason he was sent to the Duat was because he is a servant of a Egyptian god.
Okay, yes.
So the Duat is a real place.
Yeah, they're in it,
The
right?
the
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 boat
boat the
inside
boat
of
inside
it
the boat,
is a
the
person's
Asylum
head.
is his, yeah, it's his interpretation of his
Yes.
plane.
Yes.
But she was comparing the Duat to the ancestral plane, and the ancestral plane is a real place as well, which is the Black Panther place.
Okay.
He goes and sees.
So like, are you confused that there's multiple death
I'm not confused at
places?
all. No, I'm saying something. What I'm saying is I'm just clarifying that I'm saying something different than what you're saying. You're saying, from what I understand, the Dua is not real. It's just his
No, no, no.
interpretation.
No. Yeah. Sorry if I meant that. Yeah. No, that's not what I meant. What I meant that is we're viewing everything through the eyes of Mark, who is a very big Egyptologist type guy. So it's possible that this afterlife is everybody's afterlife, and it's just because he grew up with this. This is it's possible. Everything is it's possible in this show because it's all kind of like perception. Like it's a mind thing. But I would agree with you that if we're just gonna take like not think about it too heavy, then yeah, the Dua is like an actual dead place because he serves the god Khonshu, is where those souls go. I would maybe even argue that many more people, maybe it's just the region of Middle East that is going here. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know what the rules are. I haven't, like I said, I haven't talked to Tarwat all that much, but um,
I
that's a
think the
real place.
rules.
The boat
I,
is just the carrier for every single death, right? It's like
Mhm.
Santa Claus. It's like it just happens in an instant because if you start applying real world logic to it, it doesn't make any sense.
Okay, but yeah, none of this makes real sense because logic's out the window. It's superhero stuff. But I understand what you're saying. How I think it's working though is, like, if you worship, let's just say, let's take gods out of the equation. Like, they're not gods. Let's just say that they're aliens that are far away, and they're
God.
like watching over, like the Eternals, right? And
Mhm.
so, like, if you believe and you follow the Eternals, that, or even like Thor, Valhalla is a really good example, because, like, if you I imagine, like, all the Vikings that believed in the Norse gods in this universe, when they died, they actually went to this place Valhalla because they worshiped these gods. It's their realm. It's their place. And as the hippo god was saying, like, there's a bunch. There's a ton.
Right.
And everyone's is a little bit different. Mark is in this one because he serves Khonshu. That's my thought.
Okay.
It has not really anything to do with the fact that Steven is Egyptologist. Because, once again, Mark opens the doors to the Duat, not Steven. And if it was Steven, I'd be like, oh yeah, no, that's a really good point.
Mhm.
It could all be his
I just
interpretation.
I just have like I don't know. Like it's so trippy. It's like again, I there's no math equation to get the right answer.
Mm.
None-
That's just my thought. That's what's going on. So,
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
um,
Well, the other thing is like he specifically died in
Oh,
ruin, right? So like, is that the reason? Right? Is that the reason
so
he
just
went
so
to
you
this
know,
place?
you're kind of cutting in and out.
Oh, am I cutting out now?
no,
No, you're
you're
good
good.
now.
So he died in the ruins. So it's like that could be the reason why, right?
Could have
Mm-hmm.
been.
There's so many. There's a lot of
Location.
different reasons why. So I have no.
Yeah.
I just don't know yet.
Could have been. I'm leaning on my theory though, is, whatever you're a part of, associated with, is where you go. Um Now, that being said, in this episode, kind of a mind melting episode, you know, because he does go back and forth in between this, I guess, therapy session and then the Egypt scenes. Um, Maybe I'm just like naive, or I don't know what the right word is, but I wasn't sure if it was actually happening or not. Did you guys have the same feeling, or were you like, "Oh
When you
no, this is
say
just
it,
him
what
him
it?
actually experiencing the dua and everything that he has experienced, or is he actually crazy?" You know, because at one point, Arthur made like some really, really good points, and Mark was accepting it almost.
Mm,
Um, and then Steven comes into play, and he's like, "Oh, Steven, I haven't talked to you in a while. I'm glad, you know, we're actually getting to talk." That was very fascinating. You got to hand it to Oscar Isaac. He is doing an amazing job.
mhm.
This I think was his best episode by far of acting. Uh, Especially like how you were talking about it, Derek. You know, seeing a little bit more of the side of Mark and his just broken mind because of, you know, how his mother treated him. Um, Fascinating. I mean, it was really fascinating. Well, how do you guys feel? Let's go
Mikey, go
more
ahead.
more into depth.
How are you feeling, Mikey? Mikey, can I ask you a question real quick? Actually,
Yeah.
you can meme for a minute.
Uh-huh.
Um, you're a soldier, okay?
Okay.
Okay, you're a soldier. Now you're told that this place is not a threat at all. The soldier goes, soldier does not wear his helmet. People get really mad that he doesn't wear his helmet. Does this make sense or nonsense?
Okay, so Mikey, how did you feel about this
Sorry,
episode?
I had to. Mikey, go ahead. Sorry, I had to. It was too good. It was a great line. Go ahead.
Um, it's a cliffhanger episode, so yeah, we can theorize all we want about how the outcome's gonna be. I mean, it still could be next episode he wakes up from a dream, right? Like he could, like everything in his mind with, uh, what's her name, Tara,
Layla? Oh,
and Doctor Haro, is that her name?
Yes.
Yeah, like everything that we've been seeing the last two episodes, it all could just be in his mind. Could be, I mean, it could be he's in a state of limbo. It could be that he's being like helped and assisted by Egyptian gods. It's great. There's multiple theories you can have. I'm sure there's stuff that I miss in the episode that like New Rockstar will pick up that'll actually guide you to what the more realistic answer is. But what I'll say it again. What I loved about this episode is that we got the full picture, almost the full picture of Mark's background and how Steven came into fruition
Mm.
and just how like in the acceptance I love that they played on the duality of their hearts and that they needed to balance it, and the entire episode is them trying to balance their heart against the feather, otherwise they get dragged down to hell or whatever the sands represent. And it didn't get balanced until Stephen and Mark came to not an understanding, came to an acknowledgement, a how to put it, like they shared. Well, Mark is more Mark than Steven. Anyway, Mark opened up to Steven so Steven could see the background, and then Steven understands why Mark does what he does. And my favorite scene probably was Steven, I don't know if forgiving is the right word, but just comforting Mark and telling him it's
Yeah.
not his fault. Like that becomes really real when you have those moments with yourself, right? Like
Mm.
when you learn to forgive yourself, when you learn to accept your failures, and in Mark's case, it's not a failure. I mean, unfortunately, his brother died, and that would be a failure. But like he came to accept what had happened through an alternate personality of himself, and that was beautiful to me. And then once Stephen falls into the sand, his heart was balanced. Kind of, to me, it signaled like, okay, now Mark is whole because his heart is balanced with the feather. But
Right.
I also think Steven's gonna come back, right? And this is where my brain goes, huh? How can you just get rid of a split like his alternate personality? Couldn't he just like if it is a real like Egyptian sand mummies are pulling Steven down into the sand and trapping him. It's like, well, but
Mm.
Mark still exists, so then Steven could just come back if he thinks hard enough. But those are the
kind of
theories that I don't like to wrap my head around.
Yeah, it's hard because it's like we're just human. So it reminds me of like WandaVision, where it's like she created the kids, and you're like, oh, okay, so are they real or are they not
Uh-huh.
real?
Yeah.
So it's like there's no way for us to know. It's just really, I think, really well done storytelling.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and Stephen, being thrown off the boat, turning into stone. One thought that I had is if he does have three personalities, but the scales couldn't be balanced with three, literally an odd number. Maybe it's balanced now because there's two. I don't
Yeah.
know if that's more of a cop out than him just coming to terms with everything. I like that more.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that's like the third personality couldn't come out when there was only two, or when there was three.
Yeah,
Or it's more
yeah,
difficult.
because it's like all so perceptually whatever right now. Like it's all up in the air still. We won't know until it's over. Um, the third personality was there. Like we saw it in the last episode, and like that wasn't me. It wasn't me either. So it's like we know there's at least another personality. In this episode, I think it starts, and he's just being like not Mark. It was weird. Like he had a messed up nose, all that stuff, and he wasn't Mark. Like he was like just kind of a normal guy, seemingly. Mark is more Indiana Jones. Like you can feel that, and that's what's so good about Oscar Isaac is that like I can notice that. Like I haven't even seen any breakdowns of anything yet, but I noticed that, and I was like, oh okay. And then I rewatched a reaction, and I noticed it, and I was like, oh I see. Okay, all right. So yeah, that third personality's there. We've seen it. We don't know it yet. And I do hope that Oscar Isaac was just a smart businessman. Was like, nah, let's see how people like me first, and then if it's good, I'll sign on for more. Like that's what I'm hoping it is, rather than just one and done. Because I love the character and I want to see more.
Yeah.
But here's how I honestly feel about the Oscar Isaac situation in his own mind. If I was guessing how he's looking at this,
Mhm.
is I don't think he's interested in TV, period. But whether it's like his manager or whatever, came to him with this script or like this opportunity and he read the script, the acting opportunity is gold. And he recognized that. And so like to add upon what you just said, I think that is the case. But also like I think he's having fun with this, man. I think he wanted to do this because of how unique this role is. We don't get a lot of roles unless we're watching like Split, um of an actor just jumping from, just emotion to emotion to emotion and going back and forth and back and forth, and that's really difficult. I mean, I'm not an actor. I can't act, but I would imagine that's very difficult. Um I got to hand it to him. Like I'm enjoying this series as much as I am because he is acting. It's Oscar Isaac. You put someone else in the role that gives a half ass effort, and the show wouldn't nearly be as good. But that just shows like I like the direction that Marvel is going, and I would be sad to see that this is only a TV character because I think that he fits in the MCU. I could see him fitting once he this origin story, so to speak, finishes uh on the grander scheme of things. I don't know how or why he would be there, but he's such a well written character that it would be a shame that this is the only thing we get of Moon Knight.
Yeah. And my luck is that it will be. Real world problems are gonna ruin another fun superhero thing, medium.
Mm.
Yeah, everything I just did a little quick Google search. Everything that I see is just he didn't want to sign on to something big to like take up all of his time. So maybe he just wants like a good vacation after Star Wars and everything, and Moon Knight, and down the road he'll come back and play it. But I don't know. I can also see them writing because Moon Knight can be anyone that Khonshu deems to be a vessel, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I do agree with you. Oscar Isaac is phenomenal. really, I like Steven and Mark more than I like the action scenes.
True. Yeah, no Moon Knight in this episode, and I didn't. Well, I mean, there was a flashback, but I was like, I'm not missing it. I'm not missing the
Yeah,
beat 'em up CGI fight. I like this psychological trauma stuff, but I'm weird like that.
No, I don't. I
it,
don't think you are word like that because I think Mikey's saying the same thing, and I'm echoing what you're both saying. Is the thing that I've liked about this show more than anything is Oscar Isaac's performance with himself.
yeah, I feel
It's
like you could
fascinating, fun.
you could take the scene of Steven forgiving Mark from this and like analyze it and show it for trainings of like forgiving
Mm.
yourself, self love. Like it's
Yeah.
that good.
Yeah.
It's art. Art was created. I mean, it's been
Mm.
created throughout this entire season. But like that, to me, depending on how next episode goes, I think that'll be the most like impactful moment from this series from
Where is
Marvel
it?
in a long time.
Where is it for you? For y'all, like in because WandaVision is still my number one, dependent upon what happens next week. Where is this line?
Mm.
Moon Knight lands as far as the story goes, number one. As far as storytelling goes, WandaVision still holds key to that because I haven't seen anything like that in recent memory or like ever. How WandaVision tells its story is still so unique to me and different from how more Marvel usually does tell stories. That one it holds a special place in my heart. But I like Moon Knight's story better.
I actually like Loki better. I'm a minority. Most people don't talk about Loki. I think that show's underrated, and um, I do like Moon Knight better than WandaVision, but I recognize WandaVision is a better show than Moon Knight. I'm just this it caters more to me. I'm enjoying this. So I'd probably say it's my second. It's probably my second favorite. I mean, think about this. Is what else have they done?
Hawkeye, Falcon, Winter Soldier.
Derek, you're really cutting out. Um, Hawkeye, Winter Soldier, and Loki, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, this would probably Moon Knight would probably be my second favorite. I liked Loki better, or I have enjoyed Loki more. Um, but yeah, WandaVision. I think I just gotta go back and watch WandaVision. Gotta do that real quick because Doctor Strange comes out in soon. 2 weeks?
Next
2 weeks, right?
next Thursday.
Yeah. So to answer your question, Derek, I think number two, it's my second favorite out of
Mhm.
the MCU TV series.
Nice.
Right in front of WandaVision and right behind Loki. Although WandaVision is probably the best show, like writing. I just enjoyed Loki more, and I'm enjoying this more than WandaVision.
I think that would be like average compared. Like if I was just surveying a bunch of MCU fans, like it seems about where those three land at the top. I think.
This is I went to lunch with my brothers today and all of them agree that this is their favorite of all of the Marvel TV shows.
Yeah, it might overtake Loki for me. Like just that. Like it's not the fighting, and there hasn't really been a lot of action. There really
Nope.
hasn't. But it is such a unique show and
Mhm.
such a psychological and philosophical thriller. The philosophy in this show, this episode was unreal. Unreal. I love this kind of stuff. I love it. And then you have mythology. I'm a big mythos fan. So I don't know, this might overtake Loki for me. It's right there. It's right there. It's just we'll see how it ends.
Trying to think of Ethan Hawke. I think he's a must see now. Like it makes me even want to go see that really bad scary movie that came out last year, or the scary. It didn't look very scary movie. Where there was like a kid trapped in a basement and the phone rang and he answered the phone. There was a bunch of more dead kids, going, "Oh, we're gonna help you escape," and he and the ghost
Did
have
that-
to like. Do you remember that?
Yeah, did that come out though? I thought it didn't release yet.
Okay, maybe it hasn't released yet, but if it hasn't, I'm gonna go see it because Ethan Hawke in The Northman, excellent. Ethan Hawke here, excellent. And he's playing like two different characters, and he might even be Khonshu as well. That's my crazy theory, is that he's Khonshu. But yeah, and this is like Khonshu's, thing. But no, I don't
I
know.
would love that. I really
It's
would. I would love that this was all set up.
Well, I mean, I just go back to when he meets Haro for the first time. He's like, he's telling you that I should shut up, right? And it was like word for word, and I was like, whoa, how do you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like there's a lot of stuff. If you go back and you just think of these themes, these things that they ask, like the little girl. Again, this is the one that I really really like. It's so good in the first episode. Little girl goes, and the episode opens up of him
Sorry. The
passing like
little girl
brooms.
goes, "What?"
Damn it! I hate the internet. The
You're doing
internet's
great. You're
awful.
doing great, but that was the only spot that we didn't
Okay,
hear.
all good. Yeah, yeah. So the season 1, episode 1 opens up. He walks out his door and he's trying to get through brooms, like a bunch of brooms. Like that was a lot of like imagery that people were going, oh, maybe that's like the field of. Now as crazy as the show got, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So then he talks to the little girl, and the little girl goes, oh, well, you can go through the field of reeds. And he goes, oh, well, I wouldn't go
Oh
because I'm not
yeah.
dead, am I? And then he goes, am I? And yeah, it was like a weird. You wouldn't write it if it didn't make sense in the script.
Yeah,
Anyway,
because
I
I know what you're saying. Where he's at the very beginning in the museum, and the little girl says the field of reeds and stuff. Yeah, yeah. You
but
might be right. You might be onto
it's
something, Mikey. What did you want to say?
oh, I was just gonna say I could see them playing it off as like Steven isn't really ever alive because it's a split personality. It's always Mark the whole time,
mm-hmm.
but Steven is just another personality of Mark. Ah,
Yeah,
that's next week. Next week's gotta come. So I gotta see.
Yeah, I want to watch. I want to. I want to watch it. It's very good. Trying to think, just going through the episode because like there's not a lot. I mean, what we can do is we can kind of go into. I mean, if
June
you guys want
24th.
more of the detail of his just his psyche and how like despite it being Marvel, despite it being a superhero movie, like these scenes that he's in where we see him first have his first episode of having a different personality.
yeah, that hurt.
Oh, it hurt me too. um and not to talk about me too much, but being someone that actually has suffered from trauma, like I can understand what happened in that scene. I can
Mm-hmm.
understand how he got to that point. Luckily, I've never been to that point, but that just fascinates me. Absolutely fascinates me. Of It's not necessarily um a different personality. It's just someone coping with the pain the best way that they know how, that then triggers this response. And like from a medicinal and like a doctor practicing approach, helping people with multi personalities, that's it has made me look at it differently, absolutely differently. And I don't think they could have done it better. It was so well done. I mean, this is like Oscars worthy in my opinion. Was done so well.
Yeah,
And
Emmys, but yes,
his Grammys, sorry, yeah, Grammys.
no, no,
M.
Emmys, sorry.
ponies.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
where we're
know
getting.
any
That's
of
where we're going
these.
next.
Yo, this
Um
no, go ahead.
I was just saying, it couldn't have been done better.
I agree. I mean, maybe again next episode if it was all a dream. It's like, oh, that's kind of tropey.
Yeah,
Who knows? I have no idea. I think that they kept the next 2 episodes real quiet because maybe it's a multiverse madness thing. I don't know. I have no idea. It's gonna be fun. The next 2 weeks is gonna be
I
very very interesting and fun.
I will be horrified if it's all a dream and he wakes up and he's just some normal dude. Like I don't I don't see Disney doing that, but you never know.
Who knows?
Like that's a weird dream, and he goes on and live his life. Nah.
Okay, so predictions then. Um, I think that's really the rest that we can really talk about. How do you see this happening? I know, Derek, you kind of talked about, the trope of, he's just going to be resurrected, big CGI fight. It's going to be very Marvel. Do you
Hmm.
see that happening? Is this like,
It's highly possible. Like that's like, so like I have like maybe a couple different ways that I think it could go. I do think that this could be a season 2 thing, just because they talk about Bushman a lot and how he betrayed him for greed, and we haven't even seen that character. We talk about the third personality a lot, and it's acknowledged by all the characters. It's not just like teased; it's actually acknowledged, and
Yeah,
he's in the episode.
they
So
CGI'd that sarcophagus shaking.
yeah. So like I would, if I'm a TV show writer, I'm going, there's more stories I could tell here. Or maybe he gets his own movie. I'm okay with that too, actually. I would go see it. I absolutely would. I think they've earned it. So it doesn't really matter as long as the story continues. And I think that it will. I don't think anyone could be Moon Knight. I think they could physically, like anybody, like he could take over Layla. But I'm not gonna go see that one because Layla's not DID, not dissociative identity disorder. So like it would take it away for me. Like it would be, it's kind of like the Black Panther thing. It's like, just let it go. Just let it go. We don't need it. I understand what it means to everybody, but just let it go. Let the guy Chadwick Boseman in this whatever be Black Panther, and then just let it go. So Moon Knight, I would rather see with Oscar Isaac. If it's not Oscar Isaac, we don't need to shoehorn him in. Let's just end it beautifully some way.
okay, but do you have a suggestion of how?
Like this specific series.
Well, yeah, how would you like to see it end?
Um, that Steve and Mark are, they coexist now. Their souls are together. I don't know how to explain the scales thing because the third personality is there. Maybe just the third personality is just chill. Maybe that's why his heart just isn't whatever. But
Or the third personality is Stephen and Mark at peace.
yeah, and the third, yeah,
A
absolutely. Like
combination.
when they, yeah, like
Like, we
Smart
going
Hulk.
Dragon Ball Z here?
Yeah, the fusion.
They fused.
I don't know. I just enjoy watching Oscar Isaac play Steven and Mark and possibly Jake because what we've seen, I think, in this episode was interesting. So, yeah, I want to see more. How it ends, I don't know. I don't know.
We haven't seen Steven use his sticks, unless that was just a Easter egg for comic book fans. His little sticks when he
Oh,
turns
from
into the
his
suit.
Mr.
Yeah,
Knight?
I am.
Well, he has to get
Yeah.
Khonshu back before he can use those.
Hmm.
Yeah,
'Cause he has sticks. Mark has the moon, and the other guy we don't know has his fists. I guess just beats people to a pulp.
I don't. Next episode has got to be a longer one because there's a lot that has to happen if he's gonna like retake the mantle. Unless they're gonna pull the because of his actions were loyal to Khonshu. It summoned him in that moment. Like I don't know because he's got to go stop. Amit, is that the other goddess's name?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta go stop Amit and free Khonshu and be resurrected without like going back to the earthly plane without just immediately dying because he's already dead. Right? Like there's a lot of events that have to happen in one episode. So I
I
wonder
will. I will
if they'll
remind you.
end it
This is
on
a superhero. This is a superhero thing. They could rush it and ruin all of it.
or they could end this season on a cliffhanger,
Yeah.
which would
Yeah.
be the ultimate birdie finger.
Moon Knight will
Oscar Isaac,
return.
yeah, Oscar Isaac saying like, yeah, just one season.
He seems like a chill guy. I don't think I feel like I know him personally. I don't know.
Like
There's
you can
just
relate.
this weird aura. No, there's just like this weird kinship for the people. Like truckers, you know how all truckers, even though they don't even know each other, they like do the head bob thing, and bikers do it as well. Yeah, it's that. It's that. I know him. He's a good person. He wouldn't mess with people like that. I think he's just trying to get money. I want more Moon Knight, Oscar, please.
Hey, yeah, I think you guys have both said how I feel and what I want to see. And as good as this episode was, There's not a lot to talk about. It's kind of hard to talk about this episode. It's just something you got to experience and do your best talking about it because it's a lot. It's heavy.
Yeah, it's like damn. It reminds me of wrestling where it started out all cartoony in like early '90s, and then it got real like kind of adult when kids
Oh, it
started
got
getting
real.
in the late '90s, mid 2000s. And then when they all grew up, they were like, "Well, hey, we have kids. I don't want my kids to watch this." And then they got like, like teenage MCU. Eternals are having sex on a beach. Moon Knight's crazy stuff going on.
Yeah.
Mikey, do you have any last thoughts?
This is absolutely a show that without even finishing, without knowing how it's gonna finish, I would still recommend it to anyone. Like, especially if you're a fan of superheroes or you like Marvel. But even if you don't like superheroes and you don't like Marvel, I think you could enjoy Moon Knight just based on the way it's shot, the CGI art aspect, the story of it, the psychology found within the episodes, and just how much fun it is to watch Moon Knight.
This easily could be a standalone superhero movie in its own universe and everything, but because it is Marvel, thank goodness that we don't have to look at it that way. And I think we already talked about this, but this has been confirmed throughout the episodes that it is in the Marvel universe, right? It's not like a sub
I think they
universe.
mentioned the blip, right?
Yeah. I thought one of you said something about like a poster.
So in the bus one
The
where
relocation.
Steven takes
Yeah.
over, yeah. I mean that's referenced, but again, like I still am not sure if all that stuff was real. So it's like who knows? It could be anything right now. Like but if I'm taking it at face value, the question at face value, I do think that we're post blip and all of these movies and things we've been seeing the past year, maybe or so, year and a half, have all kind of been simultaneously happening. Would be my guess.
Okay. Well, final verdicts. Oh, go ahead, Mikey.
I was gonna say that would be awesome if next episode we finally see a celestial in the GD other worlds. There's this massive being that appears out of the ocean. Anyway, I was like that'd be cool, and it would fit with the mythos. Anyway,
Yeah, I agree. That kind of was the biggest cliffhanger. FU, we're not going to talk about this. Eternals 101. Hopefully Doctor Strange addresses it. That'd be great. But yeah, final verdicts. Derek.
I think I give it 9.5 out of 10. I wouldn't say that it's perfect only because now it's like with Tyrett saying, "Oh, well, I'm gonna give you back into your body, even though you were shot twice." It's like, oh, so all that weird hokey stuff was real, and like Layla fighting off the thing was real, and it's like, oh, well, that's kind of, I don't know. I remember that being not so great unless it was all in his head, but so it's like, okay, it does kind of cheapen it. So it's not like perfect. It's not amazing. Again, Better Call Saul is perfect and amazing. This is 9.5. It's just right one tiny little sliver below. It's excellent.
Mikey?
This standalone episode, I think I would give it a 10, and it may change based on how they resolve it next week, but there was a lot in this that made me happy I was watching TV, and when I feel that way while watching TV, I become a happy fan. So yeah, I think I would give this one a 10. This episode alone.
And my ratings might be different than yours, Derek, of how we come to our ratings. But like I feel like this episode's a 12 out of 10, and then there's things that hold on. There's things that I didn't like though that subtract from that. One point being, and it's dumb, but I really would have loved to see Anubis. That's just me. Goes down to an 11. And then the little nitpicky things that I pointed out that we talked about puts it down to a 10. I think this was a perfect episode, and the idea of what a perfect episode is to me, only because I've never seen anything like this in a TV show ever, and it was very special. That being said, it deserves that 10 out of 10 for me.
Watch Lost.
There's I trying to think. I guess kind of the good and the like the light and the dark. I don't know. It really just comes back to the scene of Steven consoling Mark, which is Mark comforting himself, right? Like that. Just I don't know. It was magic to me.
Yeah, that was a very good scene. Probably the best scene in the entire episode is Steven consoling Mark, and Steven also coming to terms that he was made up. That was a fun scene too. I liked every scene of him in the psych ward and going through his past, despite it being like, take away the fact that it's a superhero show, take away the hippo scenes, all of that. Just those scenes are so good that's where we get into that 12 out of 10 range that I'm talking about. Like, it was a very, very special thing that we got to witness. And you don't see that very often or done well in any media. And I think it has paid off. I hope next episode isn't rushed. I mean, knock on wood. I'm predicting, because I'm a cynic, it's going to be rushed, and it's just going to be like, oh, okay, it ended like that. Episode 5 was special, and then episode 6, they just rushed it and blew their Marvel load all over it. But 10 out of 10. So other than that, do you guys have anything else you'd like to say before we sign off?
Halo tonight. Let's get
Halo
it, dude.
tonight. Oh boy.